You can sit way back as an MLS and just kind of wait until, everything lines up. You get that nice fear, you can get people to blow their trinkets a little bit, and then you know exactly when you need to burst, but it seems like Game Sense is just bursting the entire time.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, Rodriguez has been set up on people so many times. He's got good peels. Drudenhouse must have a crystal ball over here or something, because I'm seeing him put Earth Shield onto Rodriguez and Dakroth and back on himself before they even take damage. So he's predicting swaps out of skill cap extremely well, and that's one of the big reasons that they managed to stay alive on that Ring of Valor match.
All right, guys, if you're here for skill cap, let's make some noise. They need to get pumped up for this next match. All right, right from the start, we got a UA Dispel by Drudenhouse. Great idea, because you don't want to fall behind on all those dots. Immediately a counter spell onto Snuts.
Yeah, but look at this, they're hiding back now. Rodriguez pushing up with that ring, forcing them out from behind their pillar. Skill cap playing defensively, and Rodriguez saying, no, we're not going to have any of that.
Yeah, I was just talking to a player off stage. I said that every time that Rodriguez drops a ring, it's always a trap. It's great.
Oh yeah. It's a huge tool to use. Even if you don't get anybody to walk into it, at least you get them to walk the other way directly into tons of damage. But now skill cap just falling back behind that pillar again. Snuts has his portal back there with Toes, and Pooks is guarding Toes right now. So
that was a great fear right there. That's going to put a little offensive pressure out, because Dakroth is now deep frozen. Rodriguez sitting at half-life. Drudenhouse pretty much in the center of the arena, so susceptible to any CC at this point. We have a counterspell on to Dakroth right now with a poly onto Rodriguez. Very short one though. With a coil, looks like they're going to be going onto Dakroth really hard right now.
Yeah, but Drudenhouse caught a UA silence. Wow, they'd gotten some damage on Dakroth. That could have been very, very poor timing for Game Sense, but they managed to keep him up. And I like that. There was a good little combo coming out of skill cap. MLS is capable of this tricks very, very consistently.
Oh, there we go.
That's why they're playing so defensively.
Going to have it deep onto Drudenhouse right now. That was a very short duration. Followed by a counterspell, and he's stuck right here. There's not much he can do. He can't LOS or he's going to get frozen. As he goes through, he knows he's dotted up, so that was a safe move right there. However, feared immediately after it in Ghost Wolf. He does have his trinket up right now, plus Spirit Link Totem. Haven't seen him use NS at all, so he's sitting pretty good in terms of what he has for his arsenal.
And this is a good split. Okay, it's basically Pooks facing off against Rodriguez here in the midfield, while Snuts has been putting out that pressure on Drudenhouse. Skill cap definitely wising up and seeing that if they go 1v1, if they split their damage and just try to solo and basically duel here on the Grand, they actually stand a better chance as a team.
Oh, but look at the damage.
Good individual players. Dakroth taking a lot of damage. The split strategy working very well. Rodriguez is not able to get those peels like he has been in earlier matches.
Definitely not, but Dakroth really low on life right now. Drudenhouse sitting good on mana, choosing to drink right now. Dakroth trying to get away. Of course, Pooks casting on it. He just got his Arcane Tree locked yet again. An impact stun onto Dakroth. Plus a Hex onto Drudenhouse is a great amount of CC coming out right now. They can go on any target at this point. Rodriguez is a good target. Dakroth is a good target. Another deep freeze that is trinketed. He is blanket silence right now. No way of getting out of this because his trinket is down, and now they know they can go on Drudenhouse, and that is exactly what they're trying to do. Coil onto Drudenhouse, damage everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, he passed real close to that pillar. He's very fortunate he didn't get out into the middle at all with that, because he probably would have been feared further out. Snuts hitting a Hex. I'm seeing some more peels coming out of the team, but like I said, Rodriguez has just been under so much pressure. He's been unable to pump out that damage like we have seen. Blanket silence right now. Skill cap pushing in real hard on Rodriguez. He's got to dot it up. He's got Earth Shield on himself, but there's the block. Draws out the block, maybe a little prematurely.
Oh, but Snuts, that was a great portal by Snuts. He knew that he was going to get flipped back on. Dakroth doing a lot of damage exactly when the team of Game Sense needed it. But so much crowd control going out from both teams. These healers are having a rough time keeping everyone top.
Yeah, I mean, Drudenhouse just playing like a boss, sitting in all that CC, really looking quite confident. Looking very confident, in fact. These guys, they've been playing extremely well all day, almost a different team from yesterday. They're really in the zone.
Both mages are taking a lot of damage. You see all the wards coming up. They're trying to mitigate as much as they can. Pook's getting a bunch of fingers. Looks like this is not sure whose ring that is, actually. We'll find out in a second, as we have a Hex onto Snuts with a poly onto Toes, followed by a line of dots immediately through that soul swap.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Rodriguez's ring, which I wouldn't be surprised of. It's pretty much thrown them down on cooldown and to great effect. Gets locked out there. That was an Arcane School lockout. Fortunately for Rodriguez, he would have not liked to have Frost locked out, because that would have put him way behind. Drudenhouse not in a good position to heal him, but in a great position to sit down and have a drink.
Look at that. Yeah, and Drudenhouse constantly drinking throughout this entire tournament. Definitely the Shaman who has drank the most so far. So Snuts taking a ton of damage right now. Spirit Link Totem coming down, even though it helped a little bit on Snuts, but dropped the life bars of both Pooks and Toes.
You know, just a few seconds of drinking really turned the tide of this match for GameSense because DNAW was behind on mana, and now he's ahead on mana.
Oh, but look, Snuts taking damage, Pook's taking damage. Pooks has basically everything up at this point, but a counter spell onto Toes right now. Snuts is in trouble, 30,000 hit points, barely gets a heal
full
off.
poly on Toes as well. That looks real bad for Snuts. He's kiting around this corner.
Oh, and look at that. He is going to get locked out as he's trying to stay alive. Howl of Terror hits everyone. That Tremor comes down and a spell lock on top of it.
Yep, Rodriguez throwing out those instants, Ice Lancing with fingers up, and there comes the poly peel from Pooks. Pooks with IV up and fingers. He can put out a lot of damage here on Dakroth right now. DNAW's caught into a poly as skill cap stabilizes here on the Grand. You see Dakroth just trying to peel more and more onto Pooks, trying to control that mage damage and you know, just basically stop him from deep freezing and blanket silencing his entire team, which has been a big deal. Look at that mirror rings around that big pillar, man. Both mages just on a different level right now, trying to push positioning for their team.
So it looks like the closest ring, of course, was GameSense as Dakroth pushes up a bit, but gets Deep Frozen in a pretty bad position at that point, but is able to use his Howl of Terror to push Pooks way behind the pillar. Wow, what a fear on Pooks. He went so far away.
Yep, fear to Frog, and he does manage to get out of that Hex. Toes is under a little bit of pressure, but I'm not really sure if that's GameSense's strategy. I'm watching for that swap. GameSense is so sneaky.
It's all these little tiny stuns that are making Toes fall behind right now. As he gets down solo, has no Spirit Link Totem for another minute, which means, oh, and he gets Death Coiled away. Trinkets going to, wow.
But it wasn't enough. The damage is finally catching up with Toes. And that's just such a difficult match to catch up with. Like I said, GameSense just playing on a different level, man. Impressive.
And they are getting into
I told you he was confident.
Oh, yes. You can tell this team is confident. Of Lordaeron, they need to win this to survive.
Yep, if you're fans of Skill Cap, let's hear it one more time for Skill Cap.
So right away, Pooks looking to get onto his target with a counter spell onto Dakroth. Fast damage onto Dakroth already. We see that Earth Shield swapped right away. Drittenhouse is poly. He's going to sit through this because it's so early into the round.
Yep, Toes, beautiful Tremor, getting him out of that fear right quick. Like I said, his positioning is going to be key in this game. And Pooks,
this might be it. This might be the strat that they're changing up. They're going to go on the Shaman pretty hard right from the start. That ring is not going to let him move too much, but there were dots on him, so it's going to break right away. However, that counter ring right on top.
That's a big blanket silence into a shatter combo.
Oh, but he swaps over and moves the correct amount of distance to not be hit by the other ring. With a freeze onto Pooks, who's in the center right now. All of his mirrors were completely shut down by that ring. That was a great job. Impact stun onto Drittenhouse, but he is completely fine. And look at how GameSense is starting to turn it right back on, throwing out all that crowd control to completely stop that push.
A Hex on Pooks forces a Trinket, and you saw Fear on Toes into a deep freeze. Wow, look at the damage coming out of Rodriguez, hitting Toes
another impact stun on Toes. He's taking a lot of damage. A coil right after. He is frozen in the middle. That was a Nature's Swiftness and Trinket. Toes is almost out of everything at this point.
Yeah, he needs to get back behind Tomb very, very quickly. He's making his way over to the corner there, but he's probably going to be chased. Rodriguez is polyed, and is going to become a big target here for Pooks, no doubt. Pooks looking to line up actually on Dakroth. I'm not really entirely sure they should go on the lock here. Mage versus Mage would be a better choice.
We saw this before from these MLS teams that can use the starting area line of sight to their advantage, because Fears can play such a big deal of pushing people in and out of line of sight. So we see Toes, he really needs to play the line of sight game right now. Already tided, you know, because he knows this game might go for a very long time, but Snuts up in the center of the tomb, taking a bunch of damage.
Yeah, the problem, unfortunately, for Toes right now is that any CC is full CC for him. He does not have any outs except for that Tremor. And it's going to be rough if he catches another full poly into a deep freeze into a blanket silence.
Definitely, this isn't good for the team of Skill Cap. There's a very early Tremor totem, Spirit Link totem, which capped everyone's life back to about half, but Pooks having to block right there. Toes feared away. It's not looking good as we have a poly also onto Toes, full poly. Pooks is now out of the block right now, already snapping. He knows that he needs to survive long enough for hypothermia to fall off, but they are going to turn it back onto Dakroth. Huge heal the second before that counterspell happened, but Pooks taking a lot of damage, 50,000 hit points. No CC onto Toes quite yet.
Yep, the Icy Veins Evo Kick gave him 1 or 2 ticks of health gain. Kind of helping Toes out there a little bit, and there's a big triple fear. Tremor takes him right out of it, and a ring. Kind of late off Rodriguez. Drittenhouse caught into a coil, spiked down around the pillar there, but it looks like he's going to be able to line of sight a lot of this damage. His team giving him some decent peels. You see Dakroth there actually eating a blanket silence, And Rodriguez just putting damage on the back of Pooks right now, trying to shut down the opposing team's mage, which, like I've said several times, really is where their control and damage sort of starts. It's where it lives. Is his procs, his ability to position the team and set things up with his Warlock right now. So Pooks out of this match would be a devastating thing for them, and that's why he's playing so well around this crypt, dodging a lot more of that line of sight. Rodriguez getting feared out in the open. This would be a good job to line up on him. Rodriguez out in the middle of nowhere.
Pooks and his pet got caught in that ring right there. Counterspell onto Pooks' sheep, right as he was trying to set up some crowd control because their shaman is so far away. He is running out to drink right now, but realizing he's having to come back, that might have been a mistake right there because they're going to try to get some crowd control out so they can score a kill onto Pooks.
Yep, and here's the thing, like, Skill Cap can play it a little closer now. Toes has to streak it.
Immediately when Deep Freeze was off of cooldown, he uses it right into Drudenhouse, and now they're going to be going on to Rodriguez. Yep. They're probably going to line up some DR, and once the diminishing returns wears off on the crowd control, looks like they're probably going to be going on to Rodriguez with crowd control completely onto Drudenhouse.
On the Skill Cap side of the stage, they've got to be thinking to themselves, we need to swap targets more. We need to be more dynamic in this gameplay because it's pretty apparent that we're ahead on health, but we're not that force that is to be feared right now. They're fighting back, they're kiting us, they're able to get out of so many of these
Rodriguez
traps.
Low. And there we go, Deep Freeze onto Drudenhouse as he's going to sit through the entire thing, but unfortunately Pooks has the block right there, not going to be able to help out with the damage, followed by a fear that he's going to will out of. And Toes just had to use another trinket right there. Rodriguez not being picked up because he's not the target whatsoever. Howl of Terror onto Dakaroth. Full duration, going to be sheeped right after too, so he's not going to be able to use Will to his advantage whatsoever because his trinket is down.
Yep. And that'll be a good opportunity for Skill Cap to get some damage in, but just the tomb, the line of sight ability on the tomb is very important for game sense right now.
Oh, look at those Frostbolt damage coming out as he knows he has to get away, and a great job with that blink and evocate.
Ooh, I like the Curse of Exhaustion on Rodriguez. Just trying to slow him down, I guess, keep him from kiting out. Drudenhouse drinking in his starting area, and he's been pretty sneaky about that. Toes is way ahead on mana, but Drudenhouse able to get in and out of these fights. Like I said, they're just playing a different level of MLS. It's so much more dynamic than I'm seeing on the Skill Cap right now.
They definitely are. And I really like that Drudenhouse has confidence in his team, that they know that they can fall back to him if needed, if they're doing damage. That's why he's able to drink so much. But a Death Coil onto Drudenhouse with an impact stun on top of it. A great counterspell to stop the fears out of Dakaroth, but Drudenhouse taking a lot of damage. I love the crowd control coming on the players that they're not targeting, because you can do so much as an MLS team if you have any time.
Wow, getting all up in Drudenhouse as he's in that starting area. So much damage coming into him. Any blanket silence, the Deep Freeze, anything would be good right now as Drudenhouse spikes down to 20k. 50 seconds, Deep Freeze barely gets out of it, and there he goes down! Skill Cap answering back.
Wow.
Snuts falling out of his chair. Fortunately,